Hey, welcome back, YouTube. I owe you an update on this pile of sheet metal. I promised you more frequent updates because it's a builder series, but we all knew I was lying when I said that. My new job isn't giving me as much shop time, but I got to get on this thing. I gotta get this thing back together by the end of April because the crew cab chassis will be here, and then we'll start 7.3 Godzilla crew cab content sporadically on here. So, walk you through the progress I've made, and then one major setback, but we'll start with wiring. So had a little bit of a small setback here where we weren't getting crank signal, and found what that issue was. And it was just a crappy thing. It was all loomed up, had the whole wiring harness loomed and tucked, and when you looked at the motor, you didn't see any wiring. The only wiring you saw came out of the valley and plugged into this cam position sensor and snaked around to the MAF, and couldn't get crank signal. So anyway, I worked through that, got that figured out, and then had another setback, which I'll talk about at the end. But all the bulkhead wiring is done. So we've got, this is data. This is the fly-by-wire pedal, gauges, OBD2. This is power distribution. So easy. Like when I had to make this wiring repair, they just twist on, lock. You know, also if, you know, ever needed to rebuild a wiring harness again, like I had to do, or not rebuild, but you know what I'm saying. Easy to remove. So anyway, the whole point was it's fuel injected motor. It's a 67 truck. Don't want to see a ton of wiring under here. So no battery under here. Again, all the wiring you saw was going to come out of the valley and plug into some sensors on the front. And the rest of it tucked in the valley, came with the back. The computer sits back here now. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. So this will get cleaned up. We found that issue. I'll reloom that and get it put back together. Hopefully crank it up this weekend. But moving into, so where'd the power distribution go? Great question. You can see we've got power and ground running down the frame rail. What we've got is the battery is hidden under the truck now, and we've got bulkhead coming through the floor. Built a small power distribution and ground for AC and all power for the truck, and it runs into this battery junction box that I got from Race Wire Solutions. Really nice stuff. It's meant to go under the hood or anywhere you want to, but I basically decided to use it in this truncated glove box that comes from Vintage Air if you're running their Gen 4 Sure Fit kit. It's really nice. It's got the weather tight cover, so if it was under the hood, you could clamp that down, put it under. I'll put the cover on what's in here. But you can still fit insurance card, registration, you know, extra clip, whatever you need to put in there, and all that is tucked away. And so far everything works really, really well. They send you this. Comes with all the pinouts, and I've got everything labeled. So I've got my AC trinary, both my computer powers, the fan driven by the trinary switch, fuel pump, fan driven by the switch for burnouts, and then the starter. Pretty neat. Really clean setup. You got 8 relays, 6 are fused, 2 are not. So really clean. It's gonna, when the interior goes back together, you know, you're not gonna see any of this wiring. You're not gonna have a battery under the hood. So overall, just really exciting stuff. Ready to hear this thing run. And I've got some new sheet metal inner fenders I'm gonna throw in it. Clean those up, you know, a little satin black, and under the hood's gonna look really good. You know, doing some things, some upgrades. You know, the Willwood master here going manual because you can see the 5.4 valve cover is not conducive to a booster. 1-inch bore, should be fine. Doing some upgrades to how some of the hoses, this is the clutch, are run, and just, you know, look, don't get me wrong, it's a junkyard build, right? The short block came from a junkyard in Knoxville. A Navigator transmission came from an 04 Mach 1 that was wrecked. Rear end came from a junkyard in Florida out of a 2,000 Grand Marquis. What else? The whole front clip, which I got back, this has been powder coated. That's not cleaned. I got tired of cleaning aluminum, chemical cleaning it, and then oil and stuff would get on it and it'd stain up again. So powder coated. Ooh, I need to show you something about this. Hang on. So when you do these trailing arm mounts, you know, you can shim them out, and I measured. I've got an 1/8 inch here. It is set to factory spec. But when you've boxed your frame in like this one is, and you want to do these trailing arm mounts from Outcast, you know, you either got to put a long bolt, drill 2 holes, go through the whole boxing, or you can use these. So this is a 1-inch circumference. No. Diameter? Anyway, it's 1-inch. Drill a 1-inch hole and this will fit in it. Threaded, you get like 3/4 of it. No, that's an inch of thread engagement. So, tapered. I tigged these in and bolted these up. You can get these from F100performance.com. Andrew made a bunch of these. He's been using them on his stuff. I saw him. I hit him up. He sent me, I bought a bag from him. Very high quality. Used them on both sides, but they're on his website now. So get you some of those. Makes sense. So got the stuff back from Powder Coat. I keep adding stuff to the build, but there's some stuff coming that's going to change the suspension a little bit. But speaking of junkyard truck, I was digging through my shelves looking for, my coolant crossover delete, which on a mod motor, you get rid of the coolant crossover that's on the block, and you come up thermostats in here, and you've got 2 AN lines running to the coolant passages here and here on the block, instead of having some big metal pipe that you got to manipulate. So I was looking for that, and I found these brackets for brakes that I forgot I ordered probably 2 or 3 years ago. And so anyway, I found them, and then I thought, you know what, junkyard build. I've put the Willwood kit from Andrew's stuff, from Andrew's Tuning and Performance, F100performance.com, on Johnny Cash. Incredible stopping power. But junkyard build, it's a junkyard build truck. So we got those brackets running a 14-inch GT500 rotor with a Corvette C5 caliper now. And I ordered no logo, and they sent me the ones with logos, so we got to polish those off. But anyway, so brake upgrades. Wiring is 90-95%. Got to relume some stuff. Final update before I give you really the big setback that, you know, kept me from, I was going to do a wheel change. So now I got to think about it, because I had to spend some money today that I didn't plan on it, but we'll get to that. We'll close with that. But last update, pretty proud of. So climb into the truck, and the exhaust is done. So 304 stainless, very straight, symmetrical words. Pretty proud of this. V-banded it here just under where it crosses over at the trans, and X-pipe into 2 Flowmaster FX series. And then you guys have seen the tailpipes, so they're already kind of bronzed up. But so still have to weld here, and the reason for that is we're going to get the tailpipes oriented in a way, and then tack them and pull them out. But V-banded all over the place. It can be taken apart. V-banded up at the collector. But just super tickled with just how I've gotten a little bit better with these exhausts. So yeah, exhaust is done, mostly. And here's where we end off today. You can see I had an intake built, mostly. We're mostly done with the truck. Yeah. Let me say this. I was really excited about running this Boss intake. I love the architecture of the Ford mod motor. I just love, they're so unique looking. We were struggling with that crank signal, and injector pulse was weird. So it changed a lot, and it's still on the tune that was in it before with the 4.6. So trying to get it to kick over just to make sure everything is working as it should. Sprayed some ether in the intake, and probably let it sit for too long. I don't know if it turned into vapor or what happened, but it backfired through the intake, and it basically blew the lid off. Stripped all the threads out on the lower. This piece is fine. You know, you just need to drill and tap to make this usable, but it warped this intake pretty good. It's really hard to see, but it basically has to be pie cut in a number of different ways to get this to seal up again on the bottom. So it's just a flat, smooth surface there that's got a gasket that sits in like a tray, like a insert there. And so, you know, at the risk of, could I build an upper for this? Absolutely. Will I? Probably. But at the risk of the timeline eroding and missing the May show, and then impacting the crew, the start of the crew, because that crew chassis is long. I gotta have somewhere to put it. I bought another intake. It's different than this. It'll look good. It'll perform well. But that was a setback. So we'll next video should be the running. We'll get to hear it start. So you saw already that mocked up a lot of the coolant system. Sorry. And that's already wired, just needs to be loomed. So we'll get this put back together, get the new intake on it, not spray ether in the new intake, and finish plumbing the brakes. The brakes are 99% done. I just need these 2 hoses from the master to these bulkhead fittings that I've been waiting on from Holly for 6 weeks. And then it's starting to throw sheet metal on and put an alignment back on it. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Hopefully the next update's far more exciting than this, and then we'll get into crew content. And I still owe you a Johnny Cash walk around video. Weather's just sucked. So, all right, as soon as the sun shines, we'll have some better content. Thanks, guys. Catch you in the next one.